On December 24th, as dusk approaches and the first star appears in the sky, the little star, a symbol of the Star of Bethlehem, a transformation begins. The day that has been marked by quiet anticipation suddenly becomes ritual. Homes are cleaned to a shine. Tables are set with white cloths and often a layer of hay beneath to remember the manger. Candles are lit, and children press their noses to windows, watching for that first star that signals it is time to begin. The table is already full, not just with food, but with memory. Each dish that will be served has its own meaning. Each place setting is intentional, and always there is one left empty for the traveler, the stranger, the soul who could not return. It is not a superstition. It is a statement that hospitality is sacred, that no one should be alone, that every table can stretch just a little bit wider for someone who needs it. But before any meal is served, before a single bite is taken, the family stands. There is a pause, a breath, and then the opera. This thin, white wafer, resembling communion bread, is shared between everyone present. Each person takes a piece, breaks off a bit, and offers a wish for health, for forgiveness, for peace, for love. Tears are not uncommon. Smiles come through the silence. This moment, tender, fragile, is what the entire evening revolves around. A piece of bread, a whispered blessing, a connection restored. Then, only then, does the meal begin. But even the meal is hushed. There is music, perhaps, but soft. Conversations are gentle. The tone is not festive in the way of parties. It is sacred. Even children seem to sense it. Outside, the streets are still. Snow falls, or it doesn't. But the world feels white just the same. Inside, there is warmth, not just from the food or the fire, but from the closeness of people who know they belong to one another. In Polish culture, Christmas is not performed. It is inhabited. It is a shared silence made visible through light and ritual. And while many cultures speak of peace on earth, in Poland, peace is practiced. It is built into the rhythms of the season, into the refusal to hurry, into the decision to make Christmas an offering, not a demand. This night is not just remembered by the faithful. It is carried by those who may not go to church, who may not call themselves religious, but who feel deep in their bones that something holy is happening, that this night is not like other nights. Later, there may be the sound of kolędy, traditional carols rising softly from a nearby home or drifting through an old church. Later, families may walk through the snow to attend pastorka, the midnight mass, a tradition stretching back centuries. But for now, in this hour, in this house, in tis lights, there is only presence, only patines, only the quiet unfolding of something eternal. The Christmas Vigil is not a spectacle to observe. It is a moment to enter. And once inside, time bends. The past joins the present. The absent feel close, and all that is loud in the world falls away, leaving only the flicker of candles, the warmth of a hand held, the quiet song of a soul remembering what truly matters. Before it was called Wigilia, before it was Christian, before the first nativity was carved or the first midnight bell was rung, Poland had December traditions, and they were ancient, earthbound, and rich with meaning. Long before the story of Bethlehem reached the Carpathians and Mazovian plains, the Slavic peoples of this land marked the turning of the year with fire, grain, and stars. Winter solstice, the longest night of the year, was a time of both fear and reverence. Crops had long been harvested. The earth lay dormant. Wolves howled beyond the villages. Light was scarce, but in this darkness, people lit candles, shared food, and waited for the return of the sun. They believed that during this time, this deep winter pause, the veil between the living and the dead grew thin. Ancestors might return to the hearth. Spirits moved freely. It was a time to stay close, to remember, to keep the fires burning. These pre-Christian rituals centered on sharing food with the unseen, often leaving meals out overnight, purifying the home, sweeping, blessing, cleansing spaces of old energy, lighting candles to invite warmth and light into the darkest night, observing silence at the start of the feast. To listen for ancestral voices, it was a night of respect, quiet, and hope, not unlike what Christmas Eve would become. When Christianity arrived in Poland in 966 AD with the baptism of Mieszko I, it did not erase these traditions. Instead, it gently merged with them. Catholic teachings layered over ancient customs, and together they shaped a uniquely Polish spirituality, one that is both deeply religious and deeply rooted in the land. The Vigil meal, for example, still holds echoes of those ancient solstice feasts. The empty chair for a wandering soul, the silence before eating, the 12 symbolic dishes, often representing the months, the apostles, or simply the abundance of the land. These elements may now point to Christ, but they began as gestures to the sacredness of life itself. Eben teope, atek, the unleavened wafer shared before the meal, resembles earlier bread offerings made to the spirits of the household. The act of breaking and blessing, it predates church pews. It speaks of human need for reconciliation, for beginning again. As Poland's Christian identity deepened, these older meanings were not lost. They were absorbed into the rituals of Christmas, giving them a spiritual depth and earthiness unlike anywhere else. The Nativity itself took on Polish colors, rather than a Middle Eastern backdrop. Szopki Polish nativity scenes placed the birth of Christ in castles that looked like Krakow or villages like Zakopane. The Holy Story was reimagined through local culture, making it both universal and intimate. Christ was not distant. He was born here, in winter, under these stars, among these people. And so, Polish Christmas became a layered tradition, a blending of cosmic celebration and Catholic mystery. The solstice gave it a sense of timing. Light emerging from darkness. The gospel gave it a sense of meaning. Hope born into the world. Together, they created a vigil that is not just a night of remembrance, but a spiritual threshold. Through centuries of war, occupation, poverty, and loss, the Polish people returned to this night. Even when churches were banned, when language was suppressed, when homes were scattered, families still found ways to keep the vigil. A candle in the window, a whispered prayer, a piece of opłatek passed from hand to hand, because the heart of the Polish Christmas is not what you see, it is what you remember, and what you carry forward. A solstice fire becomes a star, a pagan meal becomes a holy supper, a night of ancestors becomes a night of angels, and in that quiet transformation, we find the truth at the center of this celebration, that even in the darkest night, something sacred still rises, something ancient, something new. And it comes to us not with noise or spectacle, but with the hush of a vigil, waiting to be entered. Among all the traditions that define a Polish Christmas, none is more tender, more intimate, more deeply felt than the breaking of the opłatek. It is a moment without spectacle, without music, without words, and yet it holds the entire meaning of the season within its thin, fragile layers. The opłatek, a simple wafer of unleavened bread, is the first thing placed on the table for which the Christmas Eve Vigil, made of flour and water, white and weightless. It resembles the host used in Catholic Mass, and indeed, its spiritual roots are sacred. But in the home, the opłatek takes on a life of its own, becoming not a ritual of doctrine, but a ritual of human connection. Before the meal begins, the family stands. The lights are soft. The room grows still. Each person takes a piece of the opłatek in their hands. Then, one by one, they approach each other, parents, children, grandparents, siblings, cousins, sometimes neighbors or unexpected guests, and with quiet eyes and gentle hands, they break off a piece of one another's wafer. As they do, they speak. Jedź sia zdrowia, shi sia. I wish you health, happiness. Nic ten rok be, this year lepsi. May this year be the siku sisa waisko. Thank you for everything. I'm sorry. The words vary. Some are lighthearted, others bring tears. But each exchange is an act of presence. In that moment, the busyness of the year falls away. There is only the breaking of bread, the offering of forgiveness, and the hope of beginning again. It is a deeply emotional ritual, and yet it is performed in every household, from the grandest city apartment to the humblest rural kitchen. Children take part as earnestly as adults. Even estranged relatives, if they are present, are invited into the circle, because the opłatek is not about worthiness. It is about grace. Its very fragility is symbolic. The wafer breaks easily, just like people, just like families, just like years filled with both beauty and disappointment. But in breaking it and sharing it, something stronger is built. A bond renewed, a blessing spoken, a wound acknowledged and tended to. In some homes, the opłatek is passed around with solemnity. In others, it becomes a joyful ritual with laughter and hugs. But in all, it is the moment that defines with more than the food, more than the gifts. It is this quiet ceremony that lingers in the heart. Even Poles living abroad, in Chicago, London, Toronto, Sydney, will often keep an opłatek in their suitcase. They carry it across oceans and time zones, so that on Christmas Eve, they can call home or stand with distant family and still say, "I see you, I bless you, I love you." There are regional variations to the tradition. In some places, a pink-tinted opłatek is saved for animals, especially dogs, cats, or farm animals, a symbolic recognition that all of creation is part of the Christmas peace. This comes from an old belief that on Christmas Eve, animals gain the ability to speak, and thus should be honored and fed as equals. In many families, especially in the countryside, the opłatek is kept between the pages of a Bible throughout Advent. When it is finally shared, it carries the spiritual weight of those weeks of waiting, prayer, and reflection. For the elderly, the opłatek can be a moment of deep remembrance, recalling those no longer present, years when the table was fuller, moments of joy and struggle. For the young, it may be their first time stepping into this ancient ritual, guided by the hands of parents and grandparents. There is no right or wrong way to share it. There is only the offering, tea, breaking, their blessing, and in that quiet, trembling gesture, something unspoken is understood, that we are human, that we are trying, that we still believe in the power of grace. No matter how divided the year has made us, no matter how much time has passed, no matter how much we carry, for one moment, on one night, a fragile wafer becomes the strongest bond in the world. In Poland, food is never just food. It is memory, it is presence, it is honor given form. And on Christmas Eve, Wigilia, the meal laid upon the table, is not simply dinner. It is a sacred offering, rooted in history, shaped by faith, and seasoned with meaning that has been passed down through generations. This is the Feast of 12 Dishes, Duana Sia Pot, 12 plates, 12 symbols, 12 tastes meant to nourish not only the body, but the soul. As the first star appears in the sky, signaling the start of Wigilia, the meal begins. There is no rush, no clinking glasses, no distracted glances at screens. Instead, there is a rhythm, slow, steady, reverent. It is not a feast of indulgence, but of intention. The number 12 is symbolic. For some, it represents the 12 apostles, the faithful circle around Christ. For others, it marks the 12 months of the year, a blessing for the seasons to come. Either way, each dish carries its own role, part of a harmonious whole. There is no meat served at this feast, in accordance with long-standing Catholic tradition. Instead, the meal is composed of vegetarian and fish-based dishes, honoring a day of spiritual fasting and reflection. A typical Wigilia table might include barsh churani, sita, a ruby-red beetroot soup with delicate mushroom dumplings, its color deep as wine, its taste both earthy and refined. Supa gryzybowan forest mushroom soup, redolent with a scent of dried porcini gathered from Polish woodlands. Pierogi, stuffed dumplings, often filled with cabbage and mushrooms, or cheese and potatoes, each one handmade with care. Karpy semea, onion fried carp, the centerpiece of many Wigilia table, often sourced days in advance and prepared with breadcrumbs and lemon. Led, W or led, Mietani and herring, served in oil or sour cream, layered with onions, apple, or dill. A reminder of Poland's connection to the sea. Kusza, a sweet grain pudding made with wheat berries, poppy seeds, honey, and dried fruit, symbolic of prosperity and rebirth. Kampatsi sushu, a warm drink made of dried fruits, prunes, apples, pears, simmered into a dark, aromatic beverage that warms the chest. Gołąbki, cabbage rolls filled with rice and vegetables, their leaves wrapped tightly like small gifts. Makwate poppy seed roll, its spiral of sweetness, a favorite on Polish dessert tables. Piernik, gingerbread spiced with clove, cinnamon, and a hint of honey, often baked days in advance so the flavors can deepen. Kapusta seta, groshem, sauerkraut with yellow peas, humble, nourishing, and deeply traditional. Chleb, primera mais, or bread and butter, simple but sacred, always present to bless the home with abundance. Each dish is prepared not just for taste, but for symbolism. Mushrooms for the forests, grains for fertility, honey for the sweetness of life. Cabbage for health, poppy seeds for peace. There is no formal progression of courses. The meal unfolds gently as family members pass dishes, share stories, refill glasses of compote, and remember those who are no longer at the table. The empty chair remains a space of reverence, a seat for the unseen. This meal is not about excess. It is about presence, about the weight of hands that prepared each dish, the voices that echo through the recipes, the warmth that radiates from tradition itself. For many families, these dishes are prepared together. Mothers and daughters roll in grandfathers slicing carp, children pressing cookie dough into star shapes, kitchens fill with steam, with flour on sleeves, with laughter and the low hum of carols from a nearby radio. Even in modern apartments and faraway cities, Polish families recreate the Wigilia meal, sometimes with adapted ingredients, sometimes with fewer than 12 dishes, but always with the same spirit. To gather, to remember, to feed one another with love, because in Poland, Christmas Eve is not complete without this feast. Not because the food is elaborate, but because each bite is a story, each plate a prayer, each flavor a return to the land, to the ancestors, to the truth that what we share at the table is what we carry into the world. In the dim glow of candlelight, as the family gathers around the Wigilia table set with care and reverence, there is always one seat left unfilled, a single place setting, untouched, unmoved, waiting. At first glance, it may seem like a forgotten spot, but in truth, it is the most meaningful seat in the room. This is the empty chair, wolmejes parai. Stolen in Polish Christmas tradition, it holds profound symbolism. It is not merely a poetic gesture or cultural artifact. It is a living reminder of Poland's deepest values: hospitality, remembrance, and hope. For centuries, Polish families have made space at the Christmas Eve table for the unexpected guest, the traveler who knocks at the door, the stranger seeking warmth, the soul who has no family to return to. It is a practice rooted in the ancient belief that on this holy night, every guest might be an angel in disguise. The empty chair is more than symbolic hospitality. It is an act of faith. Faith that goodness will find its way home. Faith that even the lost are never truly forgotten. Faith that Christmas is a celebration not only for the present, but for all who have come before and all who are yet to arrive. In many homes, that chair is also filled with memory. It belongs to a loved one who is gone, a grandparent who always carved the carp, a brother who once lit the candles, a mother whose hand shaped pierogi by heart. Though they are absent in body, their presence is felt in the smells that linger, in the rituals repeated, in the quiet moments when someone looks toward that chair and smiles softly. Sometimes a small plate of food is placed at that setting. Sometimes it remains untouched, a sacred silence within the feast. Either way, it speaks louder than words. It says, "You are welcome here." It says, "You are remembered." It says, we are never alone. This custom finds echoes in Poland's long history of resilience, displacement, and return. A country that has faced partition, occupation, and exile knows well the pain of absence. And so, Christmas becomes not only a celebration, but a reunion of the heart. Across borders, across decades, across lifetimes, the empty chair becomes a bridge. In some households, children are taught from an early age to never ignore the empty seat. They learn to greet it, to glance at it during the blessing, to understand that kindness is not just for those we see, but also for those we carry in memory. And on this night, the holiest night of the year, that gesture of radical inclusion transforms the table from a family meal into a sacred space. Imagine a house on the edge of a snowy village. The sky darkens. A lantern is lit in the window. Inside, laughter hisses, steam curls from the kitchen, and the table is set. And there beside the warmth and the noise is the quiet space for someone unknown, a silent invitation that whispers, "Come in from the cold. There is always room for you here." This is not a performance. It is culture made visible, a value system practiced not in speeches, but in actions. It teaches that to make space for another is to recognize the divine in strangers, in loved ones and those long gone, and in a world often loud with division and haste. This simple chair stands as a radical act of welcome, even in cities where the stranger may never knock. Even in modern apartments, where tradition is distilled into a few gestures, the chair remains and its message endures. That Christmas is not complete without inclusion, that the table is only whole when it stretches wider, that the heart of the Polish Wigilia is not food or decor, it is the presence of grace. So tonight, as the candlelight flickers and dishes pass from hand to hand, pause for a moment. Look to the empty seat. Let it remind you of who is missed, of who may still come, of what it means to open not just your door, but your heart. When the final bite of carp is savored, the glasses are emptied of warm compote, and the opłatek has been shared with every voice of love and forgiveness. There's a hush. It's not the silence of ending, but the silence before something begins, something deeply Polish, deeply human. The singing of kolędy. These traditional Polish Christmas carols are not background noise. They're not jingles or seasonal marketing. They are hymns of memory, chants of history, and melodies of the soul, carried on for centuries by families, churches, shepherds, and strangers alike. The word kolęda is believed to come from the Latin kolędy, meaning the first day of the month, linking the songs to ancient Roman traditions. But in Poland, kolędy took root as a sacred way to tell the nativity story, with music as its language, passed from generation to generation. And they are everywhere during the season of Boże Narodziny, from grand cathedrals to quiet village chapels, from concert halls in Warsaw to cobblestone squares in Lubin, from elderly voices trembling with memory to children's choirs in crisp uniforms. Some kolędy are solemn and deeply spiritual. Lular e Jesuniu, a lullaby to the Christ child, so gentle it feels like a whispered prayer. W.A. Rodnoknij, Sishi in the silence of the night, evoking the awe of shepherds receiving the angelic news. Sichanak, the Polish version of Silent Night, sung with the full reverence of a nation whose history echoes with struggle and faith. Others are lively, almost playful. This is CRW Bethlehem, with its bright tempo and joyful storytelling of Bethlehem's miracle. Perzibi, Eli do Bethlehem, where the shepherds race toward the manger in rhythmic, almost dancing cadences. GDC, Christus Rodzi, a song whereat the music rises like delighted describes. In these songs, Poland sings its heart. You hear the echoes of the past centuries of joy and sorrow, exile and homecoming, war and peace. Through every verse, families are connected across time. It is tradition for the entire family to sing together after the Wigilia feast. Someone starts, perhaps shyly. A child joins in. Then the rest follow, voices layered like the snow outside. Warm against the cold, no one cares if the notes are perfect. The beauty is in the togetherness. Sometimes, groups of children, or even adults, form kol koldyniki, or they go door to door, singing for neighbors, carrying stars or nativity puppets, often in costumes of angels, shepherds, or kings. In some regions, they recite blessings or short plays, offering wishes of health and good fortune. The custom is ancient, joyful, and full of communal spirit. Kolędy are also part of national identity. During times of political repression, when Poland's language, religion, and freedom were threatened, these songs were quietly sung as acts of cultural resistance. They reminded people who they were, that their story still mattered, that faith and tradition could not be erased. In recent years, artists across Poland have released beautiful renditions of kolędy blending modern instrumentation with traditional melodies. Churches organize midnight concerts, school children perform them for grandparents. Radio stations play them, but always with a sense of reverence, not overexposure, because for all their musicality, kolędy are more than songs. They are prayers wrapped in melody. They are shared breath, filling the spaces between generations. They are what you hum to yourself while hanging ornaments, what you whisper when lighting a candle for someone no longer here. What brings you to tears unexpectedly? Not out of sadness, but because something deep inside you remembers. Even for Poles who no longer speak the language fluently, the melody of kolędy lingers. It carries them back to childhood kitchens, to snow-covered nights, to hands clasped in prayer. In this way, kolędy become more than tradition. They become home. So, after the feast, when bellies are full and hearts are quiet, the singing begins. And in that moment, you are not in a house. You are in a cathedral of memory, where the walls are made of song, and the ceiling stretches into stars. As the final notes of the kolędy fade into the candlelit room, another image quietly rises to claim its place in the heart of the Polish Christmas, the nativity scene, or as it's known in Poland, the Szopka. But here, the nativity is not a mere replica. It is a masterpiece, a marvel of faith, artistry, and national pride. The Szopka krakowska, or Krakow nativity, is the most famous expression of this tradition. Unlike the rustic stables of other countries, Poland's szopki are often glittering palaces, miniature cathedrals modeled after Syl Castle or the Gothic towers of St. Mary's Basilica. These structures, handcrafted from colored foil, paper, wood, and glass, shimmer like stars in the candlelight. Inside, you'll still find the Holy Family, Mary, Joseph, and the newborn Christ, but they are joined by an unmistakably Polish entourage. Highlanders in traditional dress, winged hussars on horseback, angels in folk embroidery, even figures from Polish history, like King John III, Sobieski, or Pope John Paul II. It's a celebration of the divine born into the Polish landscape, an incarnation not just into humanity, but into this nation's soul. Every year, Krakow hosts a Szopka competition, where artisans spend months crafting these ornate nativities. The results are breathtaking: glowing towers, mechanical angels, rotating choirs, and tiny stained glass windows lit from within. It's an art form unique to Poland, declared a UNESCO Cultural Heritage in 2018. But even the humblest homes often display a smaller Szopka, sometimes hand-made, sometimes made by children, always cherished. In the countryside, families craft rustic wooden scenes using straw and some are passed down for generations. Others are newly made, but carry the same reverence. Alongside the Szopka, many families display figures of animals, handwritten blessings, and even miniature landscapes that echo the snowy Polish countryside. These are not just decorations, they are invitations to enter the story. And then, as the night deepens, and the warmth of home meets the quiet of the world outside, it is time for one final pilgrimage to the church, to Pasturka, the Midnight Mass. This Mass, whose name comes from the word pastors, meaning shepherd, honors the first visitors to the Nativity. It is the spiritual climax of the Polish Christmas, and for many, the most beloved tradition of all. Whether in a grand cathedral or a small village chapel, the mood is the same: expectant, reverent, glowing. Candles flicker in arched windows, the church bells ring. People walk through snowy streets, arm in arm, bundled in coats, some singing softly, others in contemplative silence. Inside, the sanctuary is filled with pine scent and candlelight. The altar is adorned with flowers and stars, and at the center, always the Szopka, not just an image, but the heart of the night. As the liturgy begins, voices rise in song. The gospel is read, a homily is spoken, but what moves the people most is not the sermon. It is the shared stillness when the baby Jesus is placed in the manger. A doll, perhaps, a statue, but in that moment, it is real. Some cry, some smile, some close their eyes and listen. This is not a performance. It is a return to the sacred, to the stillness, to the belief that something holy still comes into the world. Now, after Mass, some may linger outside, wishing neighbors HWI, te Merry Christmas. Others head home, quiet and content. The streets are calm. The stars seem brighter, and the world, if only for a night, feels at peace. What makes the Polish midnight Mass so unforgettable is not its grandeur, but its intimacy. It is ancient, yes, but it is also deeply personal. It reminds you that Christmas is not a day on the calendar. It is a space in the soul opened by tradition, sustained by faith, and filled with light. And as you walk home beneath the stars, you realize that the Szopka, the kolędy, the opłatek, the meal, the vigil, they have not ended. They live on, in memory, in motion, in the footsteps echoing across fresh snow. There's a moment after the songs have been sung and the fire begins to dim when a hush settles over the home. The table has been cleared, the candles still flicker, and through the frosted windows, snow drifts down like a prayer. In Poland, this is when Christmas becomes something more than tradition. It becomes presence. It is not loud or triumphant. It does not arrive with fanfare. It comes softly like the snow itself, covering the world not to hide it, but to bless it. To say, everything is exactly as it should be. In this final quiet of Wigilia, families gather not around food or ritual, but around each other. The laughter may be softer now. The children sleepy, the elders thoughtful, but the warmth remains. It glows in the eyes of someone pouring one last cup of tea, in the way a hand rests on another's shoulder, in the way everyone moves just a little slower, unwilling to let the night go, because they know what this night means. They know what it costs to hold on to tradition, especially in a country that has fought so often to protect it. Poland's Christmas is not flashy. It is earnest, intimate, faithful to things that matter. And it is in this final breath of night, when the world is hushed, the air is cold, and the soul is full, that you understand the deeper message, that all the rituals, all the songs, all the dishes, all the candles, all the prayers, they lead to this stillness, this peace, this fragile but enduring hope. It is not a hope of perfect lives or easy seasons. It is a hope rooted in memory and continuity, in the belief that even if the world changes, even if people are lost, even if the future feels uncertain, this night will always return. And with it, the light. So when the snow falls softly, and you find yourself alone in the room, pause, look around, hear the echoes of laughter, see the impressions left on chairs and plates, feel the heartbeat of something sacred that will never fully disappear. Because Wigilia is not just one night. It is a promise kept by generations, a quiet vow that says, we will keep the light. We will remember. We will love again and again. And if this story touched your heart, like this video to help others discover these traditions, comment below. And tell us where you're watching from and what time it is where you are subscribed to World Traditions for more journeys into the soul of human culture tomorrow. We will travel again. Another land, another table, another candle waiting to be lit. In Poland, Christmas is not a date. It's a feeling. A light that remains.